Y'all ever ruin a first date so bad you actually consider moving to a different city? Yeah, that was me the other night. I thought I was going to have the smoothest first date ever, and I promised myself to stay cool, calm, and collected. I show up about 20 minutes early trying to be responsible, and all that did was lead me to sit there and overthink the entire time. The hostess asked me if I was waiting on somebody, and I said, oh no, I like to eat alone with two menus sometimes. Now, I promise you, this was meant to be a joke, but the tone, it just did not match, and I felt so bad. So it was at that moment where I knew I was in rare form that night, and it was not going to go my favor whatsoever. She finally arrives, and I swear the restaurant lights hit her like she had her own spotlight. Just gorgeous girl. Boys, don't be sleeping on these goth baddies. I swear to God, you're missing out. So I go to stand up all confidently just to go ahead and greet her, and I almost trip over my chair. And then I somehow manage to kick the table leg so hard, it makes a silverware on the table jump. And then I go in for a hug, and then we end up doing that awkward little side, left to right little shuffle thing, and we end up colliding shoulders. We sit down, and then the waiter asks us about drinks. I said, hey, I'll take a Coke. Except I said it in a fake deep voice, and then immediately went back to normal again. She laughs politely, but I can immediately tell she's rethinking all of her life's choices that led her up to this moment. So I try a little small talk, ask her how her day was. She goes, mine was good. How was yours? And I said, yeah, mine was pretty good too. Except I cried a little, which was meant to be a joke, but she just sits there silently looking at me. So I backpedal and I say, hey, tears of joy from allergies. So I reach into the bread basket and I try to break it off smoothly and dip it in some butter. So the bread was actually as hard as concrete. So when I broke it, a piece of bread flew out across the table and hit her in the shoulder. And not to mention, there was a little bit of butter right here on her shirt. It stayed there the entire date. She didn't see it and I didn't say anything about it. So we order our main course and I go to compliment her. I went to say, you look great tonight. But instead I said, you look great tonight. Now she's just staring at me, so I panic a little bit. I sip my drink, sip a little too hard, and I start to choke on a little piece of ice. Fuck. Moving on, she asked me what kind of movies that I like, and I said, anything with subtitles, because I like to pretend that I know how to read. Guys, it was a joke. But no laugh, just pure silence. So I sip my drink again, spill it down my shirt. Food makes it to the table. I try to cut my steak. Knife slips. I fling a piece of my steak, lands right next to her. At this point, I'm severely apologetic. I apologize 6 or 7 times till she finally says, dude, seriously, it's fine. Now you would think with my mishap with the beverage, I wouldn't even touch it. But then I try to recover by doing a toast. And how did that go, you ask? Well, I go to raise my glass and then a salt shaker lands on the table and it rolls, hits her in the lap. She laughs awkwardly. I laugh too hard. Now almost everybody in the restaurant, in our section, starts staring. Oh, God. Then she asks me about my hobbies, and I go, well, I like to microwave leftovers. This poor girl is trying so hard to be polite, but I knew I fumbled so hard, and there was no way for me to recover. So we're finally done eating. We go to leave, walk into her car, so I try to, say a smooth goodnight line. And all I could say was, thank you for surviving me tonight. I lean in, not sure if it's for a hug or a handshake, and we both end up leaning the same way, and then we fucking bump foreheads. Oh my God. And all I could say was, wow, you headbutt like a champ. It was meant to be funny, but it wasn't. She laughs politely, power walks to her car, and I'm just sitting there waving way too long, like I'm trying to flag down and direct an airplane. I was too embarrassed to send a follow-up text or even to contact her again because everything just went completely down the drain for me there. It was Final Destination, but instead of somebody perishing, it was just a series of unfortunate and really awkward events that I just could not recover from to save my life. So in some weird fashion, if she ends up seeing this, I do genuinely apologize.
Story time of one of the craziest things that ever happened to me on a first date, and one of y'all are actually involved in this story. So if it's you, please comment because I need to know. It was iconic. This actually happened a few months ago, but I've been waiting to tell the story. I matched with this man on a dating app. Surprise, surprise. Okay, I will never meet a man in the wild because boys make me nervous. I literally can't talk to them. I don't know how. So I only go on dates with men that I match on dating apps because it's way easier to just like text them than approach them at a bar. Yeah, I'm never gonna do that. So I've been texting this guy. He seems cool. Like we seem to be bantering well. So he asks me if I want to go out to dinner with him. And I'm like, yes, love dinner for a first date. I know that some girls are like, I don't like it. It's too much. I love it. Okay? If you're gonna take me somewhere for a first date, I wanna eat. For a really long time, I did not tell guys on a first date that I did social media because sometimes guys would be like weird about it or they would just wanna talk about my social media on the first date for the entire time. Both just like not great. So I tended to not tell guys about my social media until like the second or the third date when they really just got to know me. But then it got to the point that I was doing social media for long enough and had done enough story times that whenever guys or their friends would look me up either before the first date or after the first date, they would see all of my Reddit story times and be like, wait, has this girl been married 20 times? And, you know, think those were all my stories. And I'd have to like, no, wait, no, I tell Reddit stories. So now I do disclose either on the first date or after the first date that I do Reddit story times so they don't think I have like 28 ex-husbands. Yeah, so if you're curious, this isn't a Reddit story time. This story really did happen to me. But that's super important context for this story because this was the first date in a really long time that I was actually going to tell a guy on the first date that I did social media. And I was pretty nervous, okay? I didn't know how I was gonna react. I've had people act weird about it before, so I was nervous. And I was like, I was thinking the whole time, I was like, I gotta reveal this information at the right time. Now, like, I don't care. It's not a big deal telling people. Like, I love it. I'm proud of it. And I'm excited to talk about it. But on this specific day, I was nervous. About halfway through dinner, I'm like, oh yeah, like, I do have a hobby that I like to do. And he's like, what is it? And that's when I tell him, I was like, yep, I do like post videos on social media. And he starts asking me questions about it naturally. And he's like, how much do you post? Like, just ask me a ton of questions. And I'm like, it's not a big deal at all. Super casual. I post a few times a week. Like I'm toning it down, right? I am making it seem like it is the most casual thing in the entire world because it is. It really is. And as I'm telling this man, like, yeah, it's just like low key. I just do it for fun, whatever. I feel somebody tap my shoulder and there's a girl that's come up to our dinner table and she's like, hey, are you Kels? And immediately I know, I'm like, no, this is not happening right now in the middle of this conversation. I want to preface the fact that I literally never get approached by anybody. Okay, like maybe once a month max. So this is a pretty rare event that somebody is coming up to me, which it's my favorite thing in the world too. If you guys ever see me, please come up and say hi. I love meeting y'all and it's so fun. But the timing was just like absolutely like could not even be real. So this girl, actually sweetest, nicest girl I've ever met. She was like, oh my gosh, I follow you. I was having dinner with my husband and looked over and was like, wait, like I know that girl. And I have a conversation with her. She's so cool, so great. And she leaves. I turn back to this man I'm on the first date with and he's just sitting there like absolutely frozen. He's like, and then he asks me, did you pay her to come up and do that? Which I now realize, honestly, I should do. I should start paying people to come up and pretend they recognize me from social media on first dates because it was kind of cool. It was honestly like the coolest I've ever felt in my entire life. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, no, like it's nothing. No, that was cool. But yeah, if any of y'all ever see me on a date, please come up to me, okay? It's the coolest I've ever felt. So like, actually, please, I'm begging you. I need that to happen again. But I did go on a few more dates with that guy and he just would keep bringing up that happened and was like, it was one of the weirdest, like coolest experiences ever. He's like, I told my mom about it. I said, wow, okay, was that memorable?
Story time, I found out that my best friend of 10 years was an online predator. Not only is this a story time, but let this be a warning to parents who allow their kids to play Roblox unmonitored because they can come across people like my ex-best friend. I know the game was originally created for children and literally was supposed to target kids under the age of 13, but after a lot of influencers and content creators started doing Let's Play videos, there are a ton of adults on the platform as well. There are literal bars on there. There's a game thing called Condo that was going on for a couple of months where people could join this apartment and it would be completely naked characters with like male and female anatomy walking around naked and like doing inappropriate things. Your kid can go from playing an innocent maze game to accidentally clicking on this and being exposed to adult themed things. So like I said, a bunch of adult creators were starting to make Let's Play videos, and one day my friend sent me one from a YouTuber named Lorray, and he was doing like a Bad Girls Club role-playing type game on there, and it was super chaotic. It was funny at the time, so both made profiles and we went on there and it was funny, but obviously like the fun went away very fast. and I was over it. One day my friend introduced me to something called Bloxburg. We're building houses, malls, cities. And one day my friend, who is a man, changed their character from a male one to a female one, and all of a sudden they were dressed like a little Kylie Jenner type character. And as I'm over here building my little salon, I could see my friend in the chat going up to people and saying like, do you think I look good? Like, do you think I look sexy? Like, would you want to like date me? I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, this is a little weird. Like, you don't know who you're talking to. That could actually be like a 12-year-old. And he would just laugh and be like, I'm literally just trolling. I'm just joking. But then it kept happening again and again, like these random role-playing games, and again would be in a provocative type outfit on this little like Roblox character, going up to people's houses like, hi, like, do you need a 304? Like, hi, do you need like an esky? And I would literally be telling them like, can you stop? Like, you're gonna get banned. And that's exactly what kept happening. So my friend kept making new profiles again and again and again. But this time they were telling people, oh, if you want to see what I really look like, type this in on Instagram. And they were putting the at of this girl that they've, for whatever reason, hated since middle school. Like, I still to this day do not understand why. So I was good on playing with them ever again. But that wasn't the end of them going on the game. All they did was replace me and start talking to somebody else and getting them to go on the game with them. More time passes, this friend ends up reaching out and saying, hey, like, I would love for us to rekindle our friendship. I know you had your concerns in the past, because the last time we had talked, I basically told them, I feel like our friendship is not what it was. You're doing a lot of stuff that I'm not finding okay. It made me feel like they changed, they apologized. So we try to just kind of like move on from the past, try to open up to him about something. And he completely ignored what I said and sent me a TikTok. I'm literally trying to like talk to you about something serious and you're just completely ignoring it. When I tell you this person went the fuck off on me, like, bitch ass up, like, you're always victimizing yourself, and then proceeded to like make fun of a past DV situation that I had been in. So I was like, okay, I'm good. I'm gonna block you everywhere. I kid you not, after blocking them, because I had people that were still on this person's close friends, they were sending me screenshots of this person just talking shit about me, saying that I was going crazy, trying to like spin a narrative about them online and trying to like start drama. Keep in mind, I didn't say anything. And then I was sent a video from somebody that was still on his close friends that he was no longer friends with. And I guess this was the reason why they cut him off. He went on Facebook Marketplace and pretended to be that girl from middle school that he hated. Pretend to be her, would use like her bikini photos and her photos from her Instagram and solicit you know what in exchange for items. Would send over images and would also ask for photos to be sent back to him from these random men and boys. Screen record all of this stuff and send it to people, thinking they would also laugh, but they were also getting scared and thought that his behavior was alarming as hell, because guess how old the people were that he was talking to? They weren't just adults. So I asked this person, did you send this to her? Because she is a businesswoman. This could potentially hurt everything that she has going on for her and hurt her. She could literally go to jail if this victim went and reported her to the police and showed her photos like, this was her. She's the one that was sending me this, and I sent her this, and I was a minor. I thought that little Roblox chit chat was just trolling, was just you being funny. But no, you're actually going out and trying to talk to people under the age of 18 and trying to get photos from them. It wasn't just a game. You're actually weird as fuck. So when said girl found out, she told me that she was going to be pressing charges and she was already getting in touch with her lawyer. And I knew things were getting serious because after she told me that, this friend or ex-friend deactivated all of their social media. So they are now a ghost online, like everything is wiped. Yes, I also reported them to Roblox, but I never heard anything back. I sent them at least 10 emails at this point. Never heard anything back. They're completely gone from social media, and I honestly hope it stays this way, because this person has tried to be an influencer for so many years, and like, you don't need to have access to that big of a platform if you're going to be doing this weird shit, because that's what usually happens. They get followers, then they start preying on those followers. So guess what, babe? Not everything is just shits and giggles. If your friend is doing some weird shit, you need to cut them off, or you need to fucking report them. Because if I showed you guys that screen recording of the things he was saying, he was literally taking photos from these people's profile that would have children in it and be like, oh, like, you should include her in our sum. And if you are a grown-ass adult, go learn a skill. Stop playing Roblox.
Story time about how I found out my boyfriend in country music was cheating on me. To get straight into it, I moved to Nashville in March 2022. Me and boyfriend started dating July to October, like July. He was dreamy, he played steel guitar, he's a songwriter, you know, all the things. He was on tour with Morgan, and Morgan's from my hometown, so that was like tender. So a pretty good setup was there. I was definitely fed so many beautiful lies, but let me just say that the music industry, musicians, they love their NDAs. Like, anybody in a league, anybody in like football, baseball, basketball, wherever you want to go with that, them NDAs, they're tight. Like, they got them, and I wouldn't trust them. Run. So let's say fast forward a little bit. We're dating. He goes back on this tour. It's the first tour back for the summer. And this was last year this time. So August 2023. I had a social media following at the time on TikTok and Instagram. He is gone for a month long at the 1st of August. So he's gone for the whole month. The second day of Australia tour, while he's gone, I lose my TikTok. And it's random, like it's gone. Third day, I lose my Instagram. And nothing was ever spoke about this. Like, he didn't ever have much to comment or say on this, which, to me, weird. So anyway, I kind of use this as a time to, like, just find myself. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, what the fuck? Fast forward a little bit, I get a little bit fishy about some things, and I start asking the universe, God, I start praying, okay? And I'm like, I need everything shown to me, like, right here, or I'm going to look this way and I'm going to keep on trucking. You got to lay it on me or I'm not going to see it. So it got laid on me. It was during November. And at this time, this was when Post was getting into country music. Everything was getting released. It was like a really big deal that he was doing country music. So like, yeah, it's Post Malone. Like, he's the only person I've ever bought merch for. Funny, because hindsight, hold on. So come to find out, that whole week unfolded. I found out through a song that he wrote with Post. So he comes back and he's like, I wrote this song with Post. Like, this is it. He comes back to my apartment at 8 a.m. the next morning after writing. Like, I saw him the night before. He went to the studio. They wrote. He comes back, shows me. And the music's playing. And he's still, like, a little bit hammered, to be honest. Like, it's early in the morning. He's still drunk, you know. Playing the music. It's Post's voice. It's him strumming the guitar and his words. He's explaining it to me. And he says, it's about a truck driver effing a bunch of hookers on the road every single weekend and gets to come home to a good loving girl each and every time. Every single time. And right then and there, it was like cherry on top. Like, that was the missing piece. And so I just needed confirmation. So I was baffled, to say the least. I got up. I had to go to my last day of work. I made breakfast. Like the wifey I am, I made us breakfast, fed him. He goes to sleep because a nice home-cooked meal in bed? You're welcome. He's asleep. And I go to plug in his phone but something in me was just like, girl, you gotta check this shit. Like, what the fuck was that? So I did. And I found, since I wasn't on Instagram any longer because I was like gone from Instagram, I saw that he was on vanish mode with a bunch of Instagram fans. He didn't want me to be in the limelight and he didn't like me modeling, but like all these models were in there. I was like, you're a two-timing little... When I say that I was asking for everything to be like in front of me, everything. I go to Snapchat and I literally find a gold mine and I see like literally 200, 300 girls that are accounted for, like much less for the unaccounted ones. He's sending merch. He's like, keep your mouth shut kind of thing. Like, I got merch coming for you. Like, and he did. Because I remember there was times where he's like, I have to hit the post office before I come over. And I'm like, oh, fuck. Okay. That's weird. But okay. Like, love you. I have cookies ready. Anyway, the song Losers mentions his name. And the apple does not fall too far from the tree in Music City. And then the next song, Right About You, is the song I heard he was cheating on me with. Like, that was the song, Right About You. So, there's a couple songs too that I know that are like, I know. When you hear it, that's the song. So thank you, Post, for releasing it. Because I was really hoping you wouldn't. Post, I bought a t-shirt for you when I was 15. And this is what you pay me back with? I mean, thanks for exposing him, but whatever. What the fuck? Anyway, and I just literally hung up my Post Malone shirt yesterday, and he drops this at midnight. What kind of sorcery? Anyway, that's my story time of finding out my country music singer, songwriter, boyfriend was cheating on me. Serial cheating on me so bad. Anyway. It's only up from here. And when we broke up, printed a lot of pictures that I found. Like a lot of the pictures. Like there was plenty more I could have fucking even taken pictures of. But I printed all of them and I threw them on the counter. I threw them on the front porch. Let me say that. 'Cause if I would have made it to the counter, I would have definitely taken the 24 roses that he gave me that week, because so on brand, you know? So on brand. And I would have put them under his bed sheets for whenever he brought a girl home that night. Because I know there had to be at least one.
Hi, I have a mother-in-law from hell, and I'm going to tell you about it. So it's screenshots of the text argument that was really just me and my mother-in-law. But my husband was part of the group text message chat that it was in. So after the fact, we did not speak to her, no contact, nothing. Obviously, we were getting married in October, and it was at that point late September, I think. However, she knew the date, the time, the place, the plan, everything about the wedding. Excuse me. So I told my husband it would make me feel a little bit better if you texted your mom and you told her, just to be clear, you're no longer invited to the wedding. Please don't show up. Which I feel so bad for my husband for this, because I don't think you ever picture your wedding day without one of your parents. And it's just sad that it had to come to that. So my husband ends up texting her and just says that, just to be on the same page, you're not invited to the wedding. And she responds, I figured that was already a given. And this really triggered my husband. Apparently this is something she said a lot whenever they would get in arguments when he was growing up. And it just, that phrase triggers him. So whatever, we live our lives, we get married. It's a beautiful, perfect day. I can tell though that my sister-in-law and maybe my brother-in-law are a little off-put by the fact that their mother isn't there. And I can understand that. And I feel bad that they were put in a situation where they kind of had to choose. We make the best of our wedding. A month later, we go to my father-in-law's wedding. He gets remarried. My mother-in-law happened to go out of town for that, so shocker. Everything's normal. We go on about our lives. We go on about my horrible, sick-ass pregnancy. Taking care of a toddler and being sick because you're pregnant is hell on earth. Everything's going well, but our friend Zach had been diagnosed with a very rare bone cancer, and it was progressing, and it was really, really hard to watch. Sorry, trying not to cry. Fuck. Zach had beat his cancer, but sadly it had come back. This is a bone cancer that they've really only ever seen in children, but Zach had it, and it was aggressive. And February of 2024, he passed away. Obviously, I'm pretty far into my pregnancy at this point, but my husband and I go to the funeral. My husband is very involved in a funeral. It is feels like an entire day thing. And we are both, we were both very, very emotional about it. When you have someone die, it really, really puts things into perspective of is it really a big deal? Is it really worth not having somebody in your life? As it so happens, before the funeral, My husband gets a text that says, I really want to sit down and talk to you guys. And it's from my mother-in-law. And it was a text that came in between him passing away and the funeral. And as I said, my husband and I were both very emotionally raw, is the only way I know to put it. And we agreed to talk to her, I think, a day or two after the funeral. I don't know if this was the plan for her. She saw a chance for, at the very least, my husband to be emotionally vulnerable and thought that she had the perfect opportunity to try to make amends. I don't know. But my husband was very optimistic that maybe things could be mended, that she would come in apologetic and we could mend the relationship and move forward. It is February. I am probably, I don't know, 7 months pregnant. I'm pretty far along. I have a belly. She knows I'm pregnant, right? She comes in. She does not look at me. She also comes in like arms full, up past her head, arms full of gifts. Mind you, I had asked my mom to take our son for the weekend because honestly, I didn't want to give her the satisfaction of seeing my son, possibly getting to play with him, and I didn't want him to possibly witness an argument. I don't want my son around yelling or fighting or anything like that, and I thought it was best that he was gone. When she walks in and doesn't see my son, I see that she's upset by this. And am I shocked? No. But anyways, she does not acknowledge me. She calls my dog fat. My dog is getting older and she had a leg surgery and it's hard for her to move. And I'm very sensitive about my dog. Don't talk about my fucking dog. Anyways, she comes in, she sits down on the far end of the couch. I am on the love seat. So we are as far away from each other as we can be in this seating situation. My husband sits on the opposite end of the couch from her, and he's basically next to me. I am sipping on my water, eating my saltine crackers, living my pregnant ass life. They start having a conversation, and she starts it off by saying, look, I don't want to fight with y'all. I just want a relationship with my grandkids. This really upset my husband because he felt like, one, she doesn't want a relationship with him. And number two, how on earth could you possibly think that you're going to have a relationship with your grandkids and not with your son and your daughter-in-law? Like, realistically, how does that fucking work? I have the entire conversation recorded. I think it's a 45-minute video, and I recorded it because she, if you've listened to my other videos, has a really bad history of making up conversations, spinning conversations, saying things happened that didn't happen, and I wanted a full video so she couldn't say she didn't say something or say that I did say something. I just wanted proof. I'm not going to post any clips of it. I haven't listened to it since the week that that conversation happened. And when I would listen to it, I would just like uncontrollably shake with the amount of anger I had. What I will say is it was a pointless fucking conversation. She did not come in apologetic for anything. When anything was brought up about what she did to me specifically regarding accusing me of sleeping with my father-in-law, she just said, next time I hear something, I just won't say anything. Mind you, I'm not from the town that this rumor started at. Like, nobody knew who I was. Nobody knew anything about me. How the fuck are there rumors about me? Second of all, that wasn't the point. I don't think she heard it from anybody. I think she made it up to cause drama. And because she saw my husband being gone at boot camp as the perfect opportunity to try to split us up because we can't communicate. I digress. Important bits of that conversation were that she doesn't like me because I'm so disrespectful. Obviously, you don't know me. I'm a girl making a TikTok video. But I'm not disrespectful unless you give me a reason to be. I don't believe in respecting my elders for no fucking reason. My husband moved in with his mom after he got out of the military. I moved back in with my parents after I went through a shitty ass relationship and got dumped, whatever. That's a whole nother story. We both lived with our parents. It is what it is. She had a rule that he could not have a girl sleep in his bed. Nobody could stay the night in his bed. She had this rule with his ex as well. It is what it is. I don't care. It's your house. It's your rules. However, when my husband, at the time boyfriend, told me she had this rule, I had the money and I just got a hotel room. And I'm going to be honest, a big part of it was because I found a ocean view hotel room for $80. Why wouldn't I take that? Instead of sleeping on a leather couch in December. Okay? She claims that when I was told about this rule, that I said, I'm not sleeping on a fucking couch. I didn't say that.